Let's get the most important news, and it's not ACC and FSU. On the TexasBeefHouse.com, remember I had it stripped away from me like Reggie Bush in a Heisman Trophy about a month ago when I thought I had too large tomahawk ribeyes. I stayed the course. I finally put in a bid. I think I ended up maybe bidding against myself the last couple of hours for what is 10 pounds of the sirloin, and I got it. I got that note on my phone, and I even talked to Samantha Duvall by text. She goes, yep, we'll be in touch. We'll send it out Monday. You'll have it by Tuesday. 10 pounds of that sirloin. Some of you, Barry, I think Kim, perhaps retired stockbroker, and a few others were also involved. So I did win, and their next one comes up at the end of August. More on that in just a moment. But I was hoping today that we could actually do a show and never mention Florida State. Seriously.
Yeah. No.
Seriously. I mean, other than, this is judges ruling this and that. But here's the story, Ross Dellinger, on mediation. A neutral mediator in the ACC and FSU perhaps meeting next week.
This was ordered by the judge in Florida, John C. Cooper in Leon County, and he ordered them to have good faith mediation to resolve the dispute, and so this is something. Nothing may come of it, but they will be negotiating, and this is where they'll be again in a room without a judge, and maybe get some things on the table about what it could be. Ross hasn't, but Ross's nugget in this story is really interesting because while we've always said that Florida State's leaving the ACC, and I still believe that, he notes that the ESPN deal does not actually end in 2036. It technically ends in 2027, and ESPN has until February to opt in for those 9 years, and the ACC and ESPN are in active negotiation over the extension, and Jim Phillips has called those positive and productive, and if they increase the value of the deal, which Phillips says we're talking about that, which I think that's the only thing they need to be talking about is how to do this. I wonder if ESPN sees that the more that they, for lack of a better word, interfere and throw money into other conferences, that they're eventually going to be paying more than they want to for all of this, and it's going to be harder and harder for them to make a profit. So if they reinvest back into something they already have a deal in and is unhappy with it, because make no mistake, Florida State and Clemson and North Carolina are the most unhappy about it and publicly unhappy about it, but Wake Forest probably isn't jazzed either. They're not sitting around going, hey, we love this. Great. I mean, because they're already behind in their own league when it comes to finances. This puts them further behind nationally and makes it harder for them to do the things that they want to do.
So now you're trying to make like Florida State's taking all the bullets?
No. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying that, yeah, they're out there being mad about it, but the ones who want to stay in the conference aren't happy about their money either.
It would be like if Oklahoma, Texas were still a part of the Big 12, they're gone. Bye. They're gone, and they're happy. Big 12 now. But when they were here, if the Big 12 would have been involved in any kind of discussion or any kind of legal battle, with all due respect, somebody at Baylor or Texas Tech or whoever could have said something. But if it would have been somebody from Texas and Oklahoma, it would have gotten more traction.
And what I'm saying is, they're maybe even more scared than a school like Florida State or Clemson, because Florida State and Clemson have more options if they're unfettered than would a school like Boston College or even Syracuse or Pitt, even though they have great traditions in a lot of sports. But, Pitt's got to be sitting there going, yeah, we don't like that these other schools are making $50 million more than us. We'd like to close that gap too, but they don't have the option, and they also don't have the clout. I'm not saying that they would be doing this or what Florida State or Clemson is doing is right. What I'm saying is they all would want more money, right? So,
but let's get back to what's happening.
The point being, because I think we were not on the same track there, but could Florida State and Clemson stay if ESPN reinvest into the league and make them happy? Then, yeah, maybe that happens.
Yep.
Maybe that happens. Maybe they get that. Now, I do think that when it comes down to being too far gone, Florida State is just right there. But if all of a sudden you came to them and said, okay, well, we can't get you $80 million a year, but we can get you 72, then they'd be like, oh, okay, well, that's something.
Well,
so
if it leads to ESPN going more in, that's great. And if it doesn't, then they got to figure out, okay, how are we going to divorce and move on, and when is that going to happen, and what is FSU if they do? Oh, if they do leave. So that's an updated nugget. Mediation coming up next week between the ACC and FSU. Here's a note that I saw on my timeline last night. Mitch Harper covers BYU for KSL Sport in Provo. Quarterbacks Gerry Bohanon, Jake Retzlaff continue to split first and second team reps. No one, on one of Bohanon's drives with the second team, had two highlight-worthy passes to freshman receivers Taya Nakua and Cody Hagan. Also had a 45-yard run, by the way, during their, I don't know if it was a scrimmage or just a regular practice. And so Mitch Harper will join us today at just after 4 to discuss that competition at BYU.
Yeah, I hope Gerry wins the job. I really, this is his last chance to make that kind of a move and do those things. And there's not a better teammate in the world than Gerry Bohanon. There's not. He's a fantastic teammate. He's a guy who can lead a team, and he's limited a little bit in, even though he's super athletic, he's limited in his passing somewhat, but that doesn't mean he can't win a conference title as a quarterback, because we've seen him do that. It's just about matching him up and getting the people around him to help. So we'll see. I hope he makes it, and I hope that means good things for BYU, because, again, as a character guy goes and a leader goes, that's someone you'd want leading your football team. If they can get the X's and O's worked out with them, I think that could be productive for them.
No, he could maybe make others around him play even better. So can, like, Patrick Mahomes. I get that, but he does have that kind of ability for those around him that want to play for him even more. Not that they're upset or don't like the guy who's also in the competition. I don't know that. So I want to get into Deion Sanders in Colorado. He had a press conference. We'll get to some of the audio, a couple of different pieces of audio. Sean Keeler's been a guest on this show. We've even had Colorado fans who have contacted us and said, man, why the hell are you having him on to talk Colorado? He hates them. We've also had others who follow or are analysts or a part of Colorado as far as their coverage, and none of them quite as edgy as Sean Keeler. He's a columnist. Some of the best. We have one, Barry Trammell, who covers Oklahoma and Oklahoma State now with the Tulsa World, used to be with the Daily Oklahoman, etc. Columnists are edgy. Randy Galloway was edgy. Others have been edgy. That's what they do. And so here is Deion Sanders. Sean Keeler's at a press conference. And this is like a minute or so, minute and a half, minute 20. Listen to the back and forth, and then we'll discuss it, and then we'll go to another clip in the same press conference, and we'll have discussions on this. Here we go.
The Denver Post. Happy summer, my man.
You don't like us, man. Why do you do this to yourself?
Come on.
You don't like us.
Mark likes me, by the way.
Huh?
Yeah. Mark said he likes me.
No,
so
but
that's
you
one.
You don't. Why do you do this, though?
No, sorry. Two-parter if I could.
No, I'm serious. Why do you do this? Like, you don't. Like, why do you do this?
No, it's not about that. Football question.
No, why do you do this? Like, it would be hard for me to really engage in someone I don't like or something I don't like. I'm just asking why. Like, why?
Gotta pay
What
the bills,
did I do?
You didn't do anything. It's not about that. But this is
But
a football
why?
question.
I'm asking you why.
Yeah, you can answer, but that's
Okay,
not
answer
germane
me.
to this.
Because you want me to answer you. So
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fair.
Why?
Why? Because I have
Give
questions.
me your why.
What's your why? What do you want to know?
Why do you always on attack? Like, what did we do?
Where am I on attack today? Where am I on attack?
Yeah, I'm not gonna give you opportunities to be on attack. But I'm asking you why. Like, what does it do for you? Like, what happened?
It's not about me.
But what happened to get you like this?
It's a good question.
No, I'm serious. Because I want to help. I'm serious. I want to help. Because it's not normal.
We can talk about that.
Okay.
Can I ask you a football question?
No.
Seriously.
No, we'll talk about that. When we talk about that, I'll talk about that with you.
Can we ask you a football question, please?
When I talk about that, we talk about that. We can talk about that. I have a question over here. Let's go.
All right, that's he and Sean Keeler. I think it would be good to then go to the next audio clip. This is a local CBS reporter, and I guess something nationally with CBS was either reported on or something about Colorado and maybe Deion. And here's his response to a local reporter, a CBS reporter, who even tried to clarify, we're the local CBS affiliate. This is in the press conference.
That's the end of that question, I guess. Next guy.
Eric Christensen with CBS Sports Colorado.
CBS,
Tyler,
I'm not doing nothing with CBS. Next question.
Joe Rigo, Mile High
Ain't got nothing
Sports
to do with
Radio.
you. It's above that. Ain't got nothing to do with you. I got love for you. I appreciate you, respect you. Ain't got nothing to do with you. They know what they did.
I'm here in Denver, not national.
You are who you are. CBS is CBS.
All right.
Joe
Ain't got
Rigo, Mile
nothing
High
to do with
Sports.
you. I respect you. That's why I told you that. I'm looking you in the eye as a man. I respect you. I got love for you. But what they did was foul.
Okay, so that's a local CBS reporter. He tried to clarify that, and Deion, I think, at first did not quite know the difference and then acknowledges the difference. Said it's nothing against the young man who asked the question. I think I've been pretty clear. I love Deion. Not love Deion, but I love watching him. I have enjoyed what he's brought, the energy to college football since the move, even before that with Jackson State. There's something about the way he talks. I enjoy the way his voice, a little bit of that Southern in it, and yet I actually think he's sometimes not misunderstood. He is a disciplinarian, but then what happened was there's a story over the weekend or whatever that mentioned from Athlons that the locker room's crazy and all that. You've seen some of those stories pop up. I really like him. I hope he's very successful, except in Lincoln. And then maybe a game or two elsewhere. But I don't think that's the way you do it. I think you do that prior to, because I have had at times back and forth when covering Baylor or whatever, where there might be off to the side, not to shut you down, not to keep you or neuter you, but to just kind of like, what's going on here? And it's been helpful for both sides. But I don't think this is the way you do it. I think he should have had, or media relations, Curtis Snyder and all them, could have set this up and prevented that, because that wasted time in the press conference.
It did. And like part of it, I'm kind of surprised that Deion doesn't know the difference in the media levels because he used to work in the media. Like and maybe it's something when you're Deion Sanders, you don't need to pick up. Like it doesn't matter to you because you roll in. I mean, you're the star of the show and that's how it is. And again, that guy didn't do anything, and he can't control what CBS does. Just like, I mean, and believe me, we had the battle when we were on an ESPN affiliate that wasn't owned by ESPN, but we're an ESPN affiliate, and they would do something like run a story on Colin Kaepernick, and then we get a bunch of people going, well, I don't agree with what you guys did. And I'm like, well, we didn't do anything.
No,
like
we were a local affiliate, not even owned by ESPN, but had their programming. You're right.
Yeah, we didn't do anything, so I don't know what you're talking about. And CBS Sports Colorado may not even be an 0-0. I have no idea. Like the owned and operated is what it's called. So I have no idea. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But going to Sean Keeler, I respect the way that he handled it, at least not like yelling at him.
Yep.
He was very, I mean, it was very like.
Neither one of them yelled.
I thought it was very respectful on both sides. It's just one of those things that for everybody else in the room, it's awkward and weird. And Deion, if he's going to talk to him, just should say, hey, Sean, can I talk to you? Can we set up something after the press conference and then answer the question and then maybe go.
Which is kind of what, in the end, they might have decided to do, whether that happens or not. I don't know.
That should happen. And Deion felt like he wanted to. Because he's like, I'm trying to find out what happened. Why? Because Colorado fans and clearly the Colorado staff feel like Sean's mad about something. Whether that's true or not, I mean, who knows?
You know what, though? Sean Keeler just may not like how things are going with Colorado. He might be questioning how they're doing it. And he has a right to do that. He's a columnist, a beat reporter, someone who writes on a message board, do a talk show. I hope that Deion will take a deep breath, and so will, and the local CBS reporter may have gotten caught up in shrapnel here, no matter what the story was that angered, that Deion didn't like, that was foul. But I think this can be handled. Look, I know this. I'll never forget. I was covering the Cowboys at a training camp, and I think this is back even well before I came here in the day, maybe in San Antonio, and there was a local television reporter out of Tyler that asked a question to Bill Parcells when he was at the time the head coach, and it was we didn't have a lot of time. Some head coaches are going to give you more time than others. Art Briles would give me 3 minutes and then start looking at his clock. Matt Rule would give me 18 to 20. Jim Grobe, 15. Dave Aranda, because I'll tell you, if you don't tell me to shut it down, I'm going to keep talking, asking questions, because to me it's access that otherwise we pass on to you. But Brad Sham got kind of upset about this one question that took away from asking football questions to Bill Parcells during a training camp. And I think he may have gone up to the young man later and said, listen, there's a time and place for that. Usually right after practice is more of X's and O's for sure. And sometimes in those daily or whatever type settings, you might be able to get off to an offbeat or possibly human interest question. But he was trying to teach the young reporter, hey, we only have a few minutes with him. Let's not waste it on whether or not you like the buffet at training camp.
I can tell you that the only time that I've ever gone over to another reporter and said something like that was I was at an Art Briles press conference in East Texas when he took that high school job, which for the life of me, and my apologies, I cannot remember the town.
Mount Vernon, Texas, home of Don Meredith.
Oh, gosh, I should know it because of Danny Don, but Mount Vernon. And we probably had a couple more minutes left in the press conference, and this reporter asked a very snarky question, and it kind of ended the press conference because it made it awkward. And I knew her, and I went over and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why did you do that to us? And she's like, what? I thought it was a fair question. I'm like, one, it wasn't. Two, we all drove out here 3 hours for this, and we only drove these 3 hours for this 30 minutes that we're going to have with Art Briles, Lynx Hawthorne, like all these people that we know are here to get comments on this. And you shortened the time with Briles, which, believe me, was going to be short anyway.
Yep.
And we came out here all this way for this. We're missing things. We're doing all that. And then you probably took 5 to 7 minutes away from us because of that. And then she tried to do it again with Matt Rule 3 weeks later. And it was super upsetting. So, yeah, press conference is not the time for your personal mission.
No, and here's another thing now.
Yeah.
If you're a local television reporter at Cowboys camp or even a guy who's a Dallas TV station reporter, you might be doing a feature on CeeDee Lamb. You couldn't do it now because he's not there. But if you want to do a feature on a guy from a smaller market or like Tyler or Waco or whatever, and you're doing a feature on somebody that is from where they're from, where you are, and you're asking a question specifically about a player, there's also a time and a place for that. So I just hope that they get that cleared up because that's a waste of time. And I wish both of them, I hope they do. Sean, I think from when I've talked to him, he's kind of a happy-go-lucky guy, but he has an opinion. He has a right to an opinion. So does Deion, and Deion called him out for what he thought was maybe a little bit over the edge. I hope they do figure it out. How about this one? Michigan is going to honor Jim Harbaugh, who is now on this, 4-year show cause or whatever it is, for all the happened during COVID. Michigan's going to bring him back for the opening game August 31st as the honorary captain for Fresno State. In other words, hey, NCAA. And see, they haven't even hammered anybody yet, except the thing with Harbaugh. This is very dangerous, even with the NCAA having a couple of nut sacks that have been cut open.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Part of me is like, Michigan, what are you doing? And then part of me is like, okay, go, you be you, Michigan. Just go ahead and keep thumbing your nose. He wanted the first national championship they've had in almost 30 years.
Since 97.
Since 97. Yep. So 27 years, he won the first national championship. He's an alum. All these things. Go ahead, get it out of the way, thumb your nose at the NCAA. You've kind of been doing it anyway. So it's just, given all that's happened. And if I'm Michigan, I'm also mad that you're like, okay, so you're gonna punish a guy and make us look bad. And look, all the things that they, like some of those things in there about the $100 Instagram thing or the golf tournament donation are the stupidest things in the world. And if I were the NCAA, I would not have even mentioned it. I'd have been like, you know what? Like, let's just leave this stuff out.
Yeah, So there we are with
the
that.
COVID recruiting, fine. Focus on that because that was something that you'd certainly honed in on, and there's other people that you're investigating that have gotten in trouble for that. But to go like, you know what, Jim Harbaugh, we don't want you back. And if you do come back, 4 years, you're not going to, they're going to have a show cause penalty. And he's like, I'm with the friggin' Chargers now. What do you think I'm coming back? No.
Quick note on the Cowboys. Today, Dak Prescott or Jerry Jones, neither one were at practice. It was a lot of they're going to, oh my God. Apparently, Dak's just with a rest day with that ankle that time flares up. He had a boot, about 3 weeks ago that people freaked out, and he was walking onto a dock towards a boat. Jerry Jones told reporters after yesterday's practice, I don't have any urgency to get it done when it comes to signing CeeDee Lamb. Here is CeeDee Lamb's response. Laugh out loud. This is part of Jerry loves this. You know what? He loves this. He loves that they're asking him about Dak. He loves that they're asking him about CD. He loves that they're asking him about Micah. He loves this. But to say that he has I don't have any urgency, that's not true, because I guarantee you last night there were talks about how they're going to get it done, and with his agent or Stephen Jones or Stephen with the agent. But I thought that was cool of CeeDee Lamb with the laugh out loud.
Yeah. Jerry did this with Zeke a couple of years ago. Zeke who, these are kind of Jerry's negotiating ploys. And I think they're working less and less. And it still doesn't change the fact that he could have gotten all of this done a long time ago. It doesn't.
But then, Paul, then there would be no interest other than the fact that, yes, the Cowboys are going to get interest even if it's boring and they're 1-16. But this allows, like that mosquito bite that you can't quite, or pimple that won't go away, or some kind of poison ivy. For him, it's a positive.
He's addicted.
Yeah,
he's addicted to the rush, and that's where it gets it. And I was doing a podcast today, a Cowboys podcast that I'm relaunching, and I'll let you know when it's like ready to go. All the people watching, but one of the things we talked about is. You and I know this. Jerry wants to win, and he wants to win very, very badly. He wants to have another Super Bowl really bad. The problem is that Jerry only wants to win when everybody says, thank God for Jerry for making all these decisions, because no matter what the relationship is with Jimmy now that he's in the Ring of Honor and all that stuff, it still chaps Jerry's ass that people go, yeah, but that was Jimmy.
No, even to this day, yeah. All right, we have other news about 365 Sports, SicEm365.com, and our coverage as we head into football season. We'll get to that.